Well, hey everyone, my name is Nathan Jones, and if you're new here, welcome. I talk about all things movies, specifically Blu-rays, and today we're going to be talking about 3 releases from Radiance Films. Right here, these are the 3. She Dies Tomorrow, The Bride Wore Black, and Red Sun. Actually, Red Sun technically is a June release, I believe, but it is already released. So we're going to be talking about all 3 of these films. We're going to talk about kind of what I thought of them, kind of the special features that are entailed with it, and kind of just a little slight plot synopsis just to give you an idea of what these films are. But I enjoyed 2 of the 3, and so yeah, hopefully you can find my input on this helpful in terms of if you're going to pick these releases up or not. So anyway, before we jump into this, I want to know, have you been joining in on these Radiance releases? I would love to know in the comment section down below. Let me know if you've been enjoying all of the films that they've been putting out. It's crazy that we're midway through the year and we've already had such stunning releases from them. We have the first box set coming up very, very soon. That'll be coming out this month that I'm very excited to dive into once I get that in my grasp. But anyway, we're going to talk about some May releases, right? So let's jump right into it. All right, so first we're going to talk about the 2020 release of She Dies Tomorrow. Now, I did not know what to expect from this film, and I was very pleasantly surprised. So this is, I guess, akin to David Lynch in terms of just kind of the oddity of, you almost feel like you're in a dreamscape, but you're also awake, and you can kind of see that things seem normal, but also seem a little bit off. And that's exactly what this is. This is a horror film, actually. This is almost like an existential horror film of sorts. And I won't get too much into it because I think it's really something you should experience. But more or less, just as the title suggests, our main character, at least at the very beginning, is set on the fact that she's going to die tomorrow. And then she, happens to run into her friend who, is trying to help her come down from this breakdown of, what she's experiencing. And it just transforms from there and just keeps going, which is just what makes this so intriguing. And I love the cast and crew in this. I think this is really interesting. I didn't really mention that this is actually directed by the Amy Seimetz, I believe is her name, which she is a wonderful director. That this is actually the first film that I've seen from her, but I really enjoyed the special features on this disc in particular. So let's jump into that real quick. So of course we have the making of featurette with Seimetz and cinematographer Jake Keitel, which was really great. And then this is something that I really enjoyed as well: the newly filmed interviews with the stars Caitlin Scheel and Jane Addams, who are 2 of the main characters in this film. In particular, one of them is our main character. And then there's also a visual essay on viral horror films by critic Anton Batel, and also with an audio commentary by critic and programmer Anna. I want to say your name. I'm going to say it right here because I just don't know how to say it. But then there's also a reversible sleeve, just like every Radiance film releases. In fact, I actually like this particular cover a little bit more, and so I might switch this around. But as always, they have the O card I think that's what this is called. That is in between it, so it can go in here like this, right there. So you can take that out and you can put it in the middle, like right here. That way you don't see it on the spine. But I like to keep it up on the spine. So yeah, but She Dies Tomorrow, I was pleasantly surprised. This is an amazing film. I definitely highly recommend checking this one out. If you're a fan of something like It Comes at Night, this is definitely something that's akin to it, or in terms of, like what I said earlier with David Lynch, I think that's also an apt comparison. So, but regardless, this is a really fantastic film, and I definitely recommend it. It might not be everyone's cup of tea, but I certainly loved it, and I love the direction it went. So She Dies Tomorrow is my first release that we talked about from Radiance. This is spine number 7. I didn't mention that. Oh yeah, and I also forgot to mention then there is a booklet that comes with each of these releases in the limited edition run that comes with essays and kind of just talking about Q&As with the people and directing the film and people who were involved. So I have them all slipped out because I want to read them all. I have not read them all yet, but I've watched all the special features, so there's that. So let's jump into the second release. All right, so next we're going to move on to the most recent film that I watched, and this is spine number 11. This is from France. Francois Truffaut actually directed this one. It's The Bride Wore Black. which has a slight element of Hitchcockian thing attached to it, but it almost feels like it's an homage to eventually what I believe that Quentin Tarantino would do in terms of vengeance from a woman who was wrongfully, robbed of her marriage at the very beginning of the story, and it's kind of just crosses back and forth as she going and enact revenge on all the people that kind of took out her husband. So that's kind of just a really simple plot synopsis of the whole film, but I really love the creativity that is based on this. This is a very interesting time for French cinema in general. Obviously, you have Godard and Truffaut kind of battling it out in terms of how they want to make their art, and this is definitely a little bit more in the middle, kind of commercial, but also a little bit artistic in ways, and I really loved that fact. But this is actually based on a novel written by, I believe his name is William Irish, which actually is just a synonym, or I can't remember what that word means, but pretty much you pen name, right? A pen name. There's actually multiple names from the author of these books, and in fact I'll put them right here, but yeah, William Irish is what this one is pinned as. But Truffaut does a really great job adapting this and makes it a little bit more fascinating and interesting according to a lot of the special features, which there's actually quite a bit of in here, and I really enjoyed it. There's some original interviews with Truffaut and Moreau, who is Jean Moreau, I didn't mention, is the bride who wore black, and she's fantastic in this film. So there's some 1968 and 69, so some time when this came out, some footage from that, from their interviews. Then there's also appreciation by filmmaker Kent Jones, who helped with Truffaut and Hitchcock, of course. Then there's also Barry Forshaw on Cornell Woolrich and the adaptation, which I believe that might be the original name of William Irish, but I may be mistaken here. There's also a trailer, and then there is a short film written by Truffaut, Les Sermins. I probably said that incorrectly. I haven't taken French in about 12 years, so it's been a while since I've brushed up on my French. Yeah, this is a film that I really, really enjoyed. I really love the plot of this woman who's pretty much enacting a revenge. That's what I love about the creativity of this film, is just seeing her put herself in the situations or scenarios, kind of, getting interested and also warm with these men who don't really know who she is, and then eventually they remember, and I really enjoyed that aspect. And I think this is almost like, it's weirdly like exactly what's going on, but at the same time you can see the spiral of this woman who is pretty much very cold-blooded, but at the same time, just going through something where she needs to do this to feel satisfied with what she, was wrongfully, taken from. So anyway, The Bride Wore Black is a really fantastic film. I really enjoyed it. It's probably my second favorite film. I think She Dies Tomorrow is probably my favorite, but I really enjoyed it. And this is actually my second Truffaut film after The 400 Blows. And I just recently picked up Jules and Jim, and I'm excited to watch that and more Truffaut films. And honestly, this is a promising start for me for watching more Truffaut. So I definitely recommend The Bride Wore Black, and if you can pick it up, it's fantastic. So check this one out if you can. And also, we forgot to do this, but the there's the alternate cover, which I quite enjoy as well. But I also like the back a lot right there. And then, of course, we have the booklet that comes with it, and also has quite a bit of special features on there as well, just with essays. So definitely check it out if you can. All right, so next we're going to go to a German film from 1970. This is actually spine number 6, so pretty early on in here, but this is Red Sun. Red Sun was actually originally, I believe, supposed to come out in June, but I believe it got a little bit pushed early. So it comes with a booklet, of course. And this is a very thick booklet. I think there's like 50 pages in this thing. But this film, I know we mentioned Godard earlier when we were talking about Truffaut. That's probably what is more akin to this film. It's definitely more experimental, a little bit aimless. There's a very simple plot. A bunch of women who are enacting, murder on boyfriends if they stay for 5 days. I believe that's just the simple plot right there. And there's one guy who comes in and kind of starts noticing that, but is, I guess, privy to it and just is continuing to hang out with these women. So it's a very interesting film. It's definitely one that I think I need to revisit, because I definitely did not click with it the first time I watched it. In fact, a lot of Godard films I don't really click with myself. But it's really interesting. So you're following Thomas, who is this man who is going to his ex-girlfriend's house, an apartment, and kind of lives with these women who are eventually going to kill boyfriends, right? And that's just kind of how it goes. But it's It's weirdly experimental. In 1970s when this movie came out, so there's a lot of things going on in German society as well, but also just around the world. And I think that's kind of what really brings life to this film. And this is actually the alternate cover right here. I actually like it more than the original, which is right there, which is also pretty good. But I like the warm red on the whole thing on the other side, like this. So, but yeah, it's a very interesting film. Here is some of the special features. It was directed by Rudolf Thom. I don't believe I mentioned that earlier, but it's all in German. There are some scene commentary from Thom and Rainer Loghans. Visual essay by scholar Johannes von Mocte on the social and cultural influences of the film. I probably said that incorrectly on the name. Visual essay by academic and programmer Margaret Derais, tracing the development of the new German cinema, which I was talking about earlier in this time period. I don't think I mentioned Fassbinder. This was somebody who was coming up, and so this special feature in particular was really kind of going off that and all the other German filmmakers at the time, Werner Herzog or Wim Wenders, who did Paris, Texas, right? So we're seeing a lot of a lot of people coming up in this time period in the new German wave right here of cinema. There also is a limited 52-page book. I was wrong on that. Writings by Sam Deegan, who's great and fantastic. I love that. But yeah, there's really great stuff in here, and I definitely am somebody who may not possibly recommend this film, but it's definitely worth a watch. This is one that I think I need to spend more time with over time, but it's definitely one of the weaker films that I have seen so far from Radiance, at least in terms of my own film watching. You may disagree, and honestly, that's fantastic, and that's what makes film watching and film critique really, really interesting. So, but yeah, and have you seen Red Sun? Bride Wore Black, or She Dies Tomorrow? Let me know in the comment section down below. Do you plan on picking any of these films up? I would love to know as well. And I want to say thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. A little spotlight on all of these films and my thoughts on them. Give it a like, share, hit the notification bell, subscribe, and I will see you next time. I'm not jonesing around.